back to the Faith, Fish, and Feathers podcast. I'm here with Caleb.
What's up?
And we're going to do another one on our spring. We're going to talk about our spring a little bit more to add on to our last episode. Caleb gave us some Maine turkey stories, and we're in Mississippi.
Mississippi. But
Mississippi.
yeah, welcome back to spring turkey season of 2024. We're just going to fill you in on and just tell you how the spring went. We're going to just kind of a continuation of last episode.
There was just too much to fit in one.
Yep. It's spring is busy especially for me. I'm out. I travel, so
I haven't got out to traveling to different states yet, turkey hunting, but it is my plan to start putting in for some tags and traveling with Caleb, and our wives will tag along, and hopefully they'll apply for some tags too. I know Brooklyn shot a few birds out of state. What one did she get? She's still waiting for the record on.
Yeah, she killed one in Maine that is going to go top 5 in the Maine Mastic book.
How long does she have to wait to find out?
She actually won't know until next spring. It won't get announced until next spring, and they don't even tell her about it, where it'll place until next spring, because they have a banquet.
She gets to find out when the rest of them do. She doesn't get no.
Yeah, she gets to wait for a banquet. Yeah. Which kind of sucks for her, but I mean, it's kind of funny too because she's so excited to be able to hear this, or to be able to know what she's got.
It was a big bird.
Yeah, it was a really good bird. But yeah, so without any delay, let's jump right in, I guess. So we left off with Mississippi, and then the beginning of Michigan for James. My hunt after Mississippi, I went to Kentucky. Really short. In short order, didn't kill a bird in Kentucky this year. I've killed birds in Kentucky in the past. It wasn't a big deal. I actually missed one. I'm not going to go into great detail on everything with that, just because it was a lot of grinding and a lot of people people really just jumping in on us wherever we would end up. People walking on us to calling or whatever. It was a wild experience for Kentucky this last year. So, after Kentucky, we went to Maine. Me and the wife, we traveled over to Maine. We drove 16 hours up to Maine to hunt with Matt Laboskus. It was kind of our honeymoon fill-in hunt. We had planned to go the year before to Oklahoma, and it fell apart. And then we ended up going we're going to go to Texas this year. That fell apart, so we went to Maine. Maine was a really good time. We both killed 2 turkeys in Maine, and I can kind of fill in on how that whole thing shapes up. So we ended up meeting our guide the morning of our hunt. We met the owner, Matt. We met him the night before. We had lunch with him. And then the next day was our first day of our hunt. We meet with the owner, or we meet with the guide after we met with the owner. We go and go out to our spot. We go out to this farm, get settled in. He had roosted a bird the night before. Get sat down and everything. Told him, I want my wife to shoot first. Sat down on the birds on the roost. Birds flew down, went the opposite way. We get to, we work all around this farm, cross a little wooden bridge. It was a really pretty little area. I mean, Maine's gorgeous. And we actually get over to the other side of this field, and we see the bird's tips of his fan. And as soon as we see the tips of the bird's fan, we know that, they're right here. So we set the decoys down and then step over into the brush and sit down. Well, guide calls a couple of times, and we ended up getting not much of a response at first. He calls a couple more times, then some jakes ended up coming in. When the jakes came, we had 7 jakes at 15 yards. It was really, really cool to have those jakes all right there. They ended up coming around the decoys and just acting foolish for, it had to have been 10, 15 minutes of... I have a video of it on my phone, actually.
See, you say 10, 15 minutes, but I bet it felt like, half an hour to an hour.
It felt like forever.
You got lost in a trance just watching them. I feel like that all the time when you see animals when you're hunting.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the one you're going to take, and that's the one that'll sit in front of you for 10 minutes. That feels like 8 hours.
We sat there watching these jakes go on these decoys. And I look over, and I'm looking through these cedars, and I can see the longbeard in the hayfield next to us with some hens just dancing around out there in the field. And he does a little bit of gobbling, not a whole lot. Well, we're working this bird for the longest time. Finally, he starts to move a little bit, but he's moving away. And the hens aren't going with him though. The hens are staying right there close. Well, then we hear more gobbling, and this other bird comes out into the field from down over a hill that we can't see, and this bird that we can see just books it straight away from us really quick, right along the field edge. Well, that field edge makes a bow in it, and then when it makes that bow, it comes around and comes back down into the field that we're in. Well, when he came down that trail to come down into the field that we were in, my wife seen him first come down the trail, and he popped strut. We seen it was a big tom. The bird ends up chasing Jake's around for a minute or two, just chasing Jake's in circles, and then he walks right down into the decoys. And I mean, at this point, he's inside 20 yards. It's a chip shot. Should be a chip shot anyway. My wife ends up missing the bird. The bird takes off running to our left, goes about, I don't know, 15 yards maybe. I mean, he's still inside 30 yards. And she shoots again, misses him. Again, bird takes about 4 more steps running. At this point, I bring my gun up. I level the bead right on the bird's head, pull the trigger. Gun goes click. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, because I've swung the gun up and the guns went click, the bird takes off flying. So I reach up to my gun, rack the shell back, let it slam back forward, put the new shell in it, pick the gun back up, put it back on him. Now, at this point, he's flying. He's 50 plus yards flying. And I just put it right on the end of his beak, and I pulled the trigger, and I folded him. I mean, just done. Folded him right over. He died. Shot him like a goose.
I've done the same thing with my gun, my 308, on a deer.
Yeah.
I had it on there. I had a deer that, I was on a field. It was my first buck, and one monster ran through the field, and I'm like, I know they're out here. The farmer that let me hunt, he told me there's about 12 bucks out here. They're all about the same size. And the 6-point came in. First and only buck I've shot. I haven't gone out deer hunting too much. But, he sat out there for probably a good half an hour just eating. And I'm like, you know what? I guess I'll take him. First buck, it's a 6-point. It'll be acceptable, right? I got my gun settled on him for probably a couple minutes and went to pull the trigger and click. And that was over. A lot different than you, but same thing.
Oh, it's gun malfunctions is something that we try to not plan for, keep the guns clean and whatever. But it was actually, so what actually ended up happening was the shell misfired. The gun struck the shell, and everything it was supposed to do, it didn't go bang, So
God said, not yet.
Yeah, so I ended up killing him flying away though. Go over to my bird, pick him up. We're about ready to take pictures of the bird, and another bird starts lighting off in the distance, up over back towards where our original setup was. He starts lighting off over there. So I go over, pick up the bird. We get the bird all picked up and everything. Start headed back towards where this other bird's gobbling. Get set up. This other bird is gobbling in this field. I start calling to him. The bird really liked the glass slate. He didn't really like the mouth call a whole lot. He would answer the glass, but he would not answer that mouth call. I don't know why. But he's answering my slate. I mean, just hammering at the slate call. Well, then the bird turns, comes in on a string right into the decoy, the strutter decoy that was set up. Comes right into the decoy. I mean, right in. And when my wife ends up shooting him and getting him, and that bird actually is the one that went into the main mastic book. He had very long spurs and a very good. He had 2 beards. He had one beard that was 9 3/4 inches, and another beard that was 7.5 inches.
Jeez, 2 big beards.
Yeah, it was a good bird, and he weighed a little over 20 pounds. A really cool bird for her to shoot. It was one of her best birds that she shot. She's definitely shot a bigger one in Michigan, not too bearded, but definitely bigger weight and beard and spurs wise. She definitely killed a bigger one here. But the one in Maine that she killed was very impressive bird. Well, she gets that bird. We ended up packing it. We get the birds back to the truck. We got pictures and everything. Took a bunch of pictures in a creek, and it was really pretty. We get back to the truck, load up, go back to the hotel. We're hanging out, just relaxing and whatever, And then that afternoon, the guide says, "Hey, you want to go roost turkeys with us this afternoon?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll go roost turkeys with you. Like nothing else to do. We're just sitting here." So we get into he gets there. We get in the truck and we go to look for turkeys. Well, we get to this. We go to a couple different farms. Went on a walk looking for some birds, seeing if we could get one struck up. Nothing happened. And then we get into this other property where we knew this bird had gone. We seen this bird go into the woods. We work our way all the way up to the top of this ridge, and the bird gobbles at us. Well, we get up on this power line, sit down. Well, this bird's hammering. I didn't take a gun. Only my wife brought a gun for this one. And the bird's just gobbling. I mean, he's acting right. And this bird ends up circling, coming all the way up the hill, comes up the hill, and ends up coming right into this strutter decoy that we have out at, gosh, 8 to 10 yards, maybe, from my wife.
So you guys are close to it.
Oh yeah, he comes right in, right. I mean, and we're talking, this is late. Like we're talking, really close to roost time. And in Maine, the shooting times are different, a little different than here, but like it's
How
still
different? Like
the times are so here we have in Michigan we can't hunt birds right up until roost time. Like we have to be out like
right.
half an hour before. In Maine, it's a half an hour after. It's weird. This is weird. They don't really change their laws based on turkey for deer or whatever. It's just a flat out.
They have almost like a flat rate. They have like this is the time you're done and that's it. Yep. No matter what time them turkeys are roosted.
And it's not like that here. It is for like there.
It changes.
So this bird, we ended up killing this bird late in the afternoon. Latest that I've ever seen a bird killed. I mean, like it was dimming. Like light was going down, and he walks right in and we shoot him.
Oh, Jesus.
He's gobbling and drumming the whole way. He came in ready for a fight. Like I've never seen a bird die that late. It was super late.
He said, "You know what? Before I go to bed,
yeah, it was.
I'm gonna mess him up."
He wanted to fight before bed, I guess. I don't know. But we ended up killing him. She shoots him at about 8 yards.
Oh, jeez.
We end up taking him back to the truck and everything. And then the next morning, I met up with my other guy, John Lamarca, and he was a really cool. All the guides for Matt Laboskis are amazing. Like all those guys in Maine. If you ever want to hunt turkeys in Maine, call Matt. The man's got it going on. Great operation. Like it's top notch, and I have nothing bad to say about anything that Matt or any of them guys do over there. Moose, Maine, all those guys over there, amazing guides. I definitely would recommend them to anybody who is gonna go to Maine. But John Lamarca is the guy that I end up going with the next morning. Hunted a couple birds, had some jakes in gun range, made some moves on a few birds, didn't quite get it close enough. Ended up finding a bird in the middle of a field. Ended up crawling out in the middle of the field and killing the bird at 30 yards. So in the course of a day and a half, not even a day and a half, a day and then like 2 hours, 4 birds dead in Maine.
That's how we do it.
Maine was amazing. But I'm telling you what, Matt Laboskis and his crew, all that crew over there in Maine, 5 stars. 5 stars.
Chef's kiss.
All the way around 5 stars. I cannot knock at all any of what that crew does. Amazing bunch of guys. Most welcoming group of people that I've ever been able to hunt with for an outfit type for turkeys of any kind. And I've had bad experiences with turkey outfits. Like I've had very bad experiences.
Yeah, but the time that you shot 2 jakes.
Yeah, I mean,
not your fault. It happened.
I'm not. Yeah, it's not even worth digging into. But
I mean, it is. I think we should get into that at some point.
Maybe in a future episode. I'm not. I'm not.
I think we should.
That will sour my mood if I talk about that one. But
okay, real quick. I had a couple people ask me, and I guess I can't explain it the way you explained it to me. What is the difference between a jake and a tom? What makes that jake a tom? Like when does it?
So a tom is a 2-year-old male turkey. There's distinct characteristics between jakes and toms. So jakes don't have full rounded fans. They have 3 or 4 feathers on each side that's shorter than the 2, 3, 4 that are in the middle. That's the first distinction. That's the main one. Another one's the beard. The beard's another one. Now I have seen long beards. I've seen big toms with short beards that have rotted off. It happens. But for the most part, 98% of the time, a tom will have a beard that is 7 inches or greater, that dangles down, and then spurs, same thing. A jake's going to have no spurs at all, hardly. I mean, little tiny nubs, yeah. Anything a quarter inch or bigger.
Nubbies before.
Anything a quarter inch or bigger is going to be an adult bird for the most part. There could be exceptions to that rule. I've never seen a jake killed that had spurs that came out even close to a quarter inch of their leg.
No, I have seen a jake with a big beard.
I've seen a Jake. We call them, a lot of the guys call them super Jakes, where they'll have that 5.5, 6 inch beard that looks like it could be a Tom. But again, their head shape is different. Their their feathers on the side of their wings. They have feathers on the side of their wings that there's a line of feathers. I don't know the exact term for them. I don't want to say flight feathers. I know they're not flight feathers. There's a certain barring of feathers on the side of the wing that distincts if they're a Tom or a Jake as well. They won't be as distinguished on a Jake as they're a Tom.
You have your primary, your secondaries, your coverts,
Yeah, so
your
I don't
wing
know.
bar, wing bow. You got
I don't know what it's called. It's some kind of bar on the wing. It's like there's the dark body type feathers coming down, and then there's a purple typish bar on the wings, and then there's the actual barred feathers, which but I'm talking about that third, that middle barring of feathers that's just an off color. I don't know exactly what that's called, but there's a distinct difference between Jake and Tom in that setup of what the coloration is, or what the development of those feathers are, because they're different. But you can tell them when they're not strutting and they're just walking and stuff. You can tell if it's a Jake or a Tom just based on those feathers on their wings. The head is another thing. Toms, I guess I can't really explain it when I have somebody who hasn't hunted a whole lot. They're not going to understand. But a true turkey hunter, knows what I'm saying right now. A Tom's head just looks different. It looks different than a Jake's head. You see, and people mistake them once in a while. They'll be like, oh, his red head. Yeah, Jake's and Tom's both have a red head. They can, when they're aggressive, when they're aroused, whatever, their heads change to the same types of colorations, right? But the head shape in a long beard, when he's standing there looking at you, it's different. It's not the same as a Jake's shape of a Jake's head. I know it sounds strange from coming from, they're both turkeys, yes, but there's something about a Jake's head. It just looks underdeveloped. It just looks underdeveloped, not quite like a Longbeard's head. So there's ways of just distincting, but the main thing is a fan and beard, and then the feathers on the side of the wings that you can
and
tell.
being able to spot all of these differences comes with experience.
And the gobble too. I mean, I can sit
Well,
if I'm
yeah,
sitting up against a tree and I call and a bird gobbles, I can tell you pretty much immediately if that's going to be a Tom or a Jake that's gobbling at me. I know the difference right off the bat. I mean, you can tell it sounds jakey. You just know.
yeah,
It's not a fully developed turkey. It's the equivalent of shooting a button buck deer. That's what it is.
yeah. This is something that was explained to me when I had shot my turkey last year. Not this last season, but the season before when I shot my first turkey. I shot my first turkey, and then my soon-to-be wife, myself, Caleb, and his wife Brooklyn, we were all out. He was trying to get her a turkey. It was closer to the end of season, and I think that was the first time I had seen, I guess, what you would call a super Jake.
Yep.
Is we had seen them coming in, and they were just out of sight, and we're like, oh yep, Tom's coming in, and two of them came in, and we're like, oh no, we had the gun ready on him and everything, and as soon as they
Yeah, he
stepped
was
out,
weird.
he was huge.
Yeah, so
and we're like, oh,
that
it's
was a
Jake.
bird that actually stumped me because his head he didn't his head looked jakey. Like I even said that, like his head looks like a Jake, but his barring on his wings and his beard were fairly long.
Yeah, his beard was probably about,
And his body was huge,
yeah,
and his
7 or 8
barring on his
inches,
his
and
barring on his wings said long beard.
yeah, everything about him but his head said,
Eh,
this is a turkey you want to shoot.
and I also like looking at his leg. I mean, this bird's inside 20 yards, and there was no spurs. And I'm looking at it like, okay, this looks, I don't know, this is weird. And I was like, told her, I was like, let's hold off, let's get into pop strut. Finally, when he popped strut, we knew he was a Jake.
But he took forever.
Oh
to pop
yeah,
strut.
so we let him go.
Yeah,
But I
she
mean,
had the gun out the window on him for so long.
it was a big Jake. But I definitely like. I'm glad that we didn't because his head just said Jake.
Yeah.
I could tell, and I knew that's why I didn't let her. I was like, I told her, I was like, I don't know, I don't think that's a Tom, but it could. Like, it's weird because some of his characteristics look Tom, but some of them look Jake.
He hasn't decided if he's Tom or Jake.
Yeah, he was definitely a Jake. His gobble even sounded very deep. Like it sounded good.
And there was another one with him.
Yeah, he was.
That was a Jake.
Oh yeah, you could tell. Way smaller bird.
Which it was another thing that threw us off is because usually the turkey that Lauren shot this year, it was a big old Tom who had a Jake with him. So,
yeah.
I mean, that was another thing, very obviously smaller, very obvious Jake with him.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's how I tell the difference. Yeah. Continuing on into spring, got done with Maine, came back, hunted Michigan. Me and my wife actually killed a double here in Michigan. Uh, we had killed delayed doubles in Maine. In Maine, we killed a delayed double. In Michigan was the first time that I had ever killed a legitimate double with anybody, and it just happened to be my wife, and which was really cool. We called in 5 longbeards on my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's land. They have a little tiny little piece of land. It's got turkeys covered in it. I mean, it's just turkeys are everywhere in that thing. And we get in there, set up. We call in these birds later in the. We call them in the afternoon. Get them to come right. I mean, they come in to the decoys on a dime. Well, there was 5 longbeards standing there, and we could not get them to spread apart far enough to be able to shoot. So what ended up happening was, is we had these these birds all dancing around these decoys, just not giving us space to shoot them at all. Well, finally, the birds start to act like they're going to walk away, and as they take about 4 or 5 steps away from the decoys, the one big strutter that the one that I was telling her to stay on, he breaks off, takes 2 steps away from the group to like look into the decoys again, and I tell her like shoot him, like kill him now. And she shoots him, rolls him over, and then the birds just scatter. Right when she shoots, right, the birds scatter in all directions, and then I just cue in these 2 birds that are still, they're not flying, they're running straight away from me. I cue in on them, pick the gun up, put it right on him, and as I shoot, he turns to the right, and I miss, and then the last shot he turns and starts going straight away from me again. Back of his head, bang, roll him right over. Third shot, 50 yards, roll him right over. So, and me and
Got him.
yeah, so we end
Pretty
up killing that bird, getting that bird down. We go out, we get our birds, and we end up both shooting limb hanger birds. Like, I mean, absolute hosses of birds. So
I remember seeing the photos of you guys hanging them on limbs.
yeah, so
Oh my god.
both of them hanging from their spurs on limbs. Both of them well over 10-inch beards. I think Brooklyn's was a 10.5 or 10.25 inch beard, and mine was pushing 11 inches. So that was really, really cool. Fast forward now, Indiana. We hunted Indiana as well. Me and my dad went down there. It was a father-son trip. We go down there. We get on. We decided to camp because in Indiana they have really liberal camping laws in the forest down there. So we ended up going down there. We ended up camping, tent camping, and we actually found. So first day we get down, we drive all the way down there. Right, we book it down there. Get ourselves all situated, buy tags, and get it right in the woods. We get right into the woods. We strike a bird within the first hour of being in Indiana. Within the first hour of being in Indiana, we strike a bird. We get on this bird. We hunt. We had him gobbled. We had him fired up. Could not get him quite to come in to where we could kill him. He ended up getting away. So, all right, we'll come back tomorrow. The next day, we hunted in the morning. We got into a spot in the morning, got way back into this spot. Had one bird gobble. We didn't quite know where he was at. Couldn't quite get cued in on him very well. So we're like, let's go back and see if that other bird's in that area again. We get in there. We take about, I don't know, it's a big burn. I'm not going to really explain the spot too much because I do have plans of going back there. But it's a burn. We get in there, and there's 2 turkeys that are right by the entrance of this place after we walk in, or at the end of the walking path. 2 turkeys bust, a hen and a tom, bust out. And we're like, dude, what in the heck? He was right here in the burn. We just missed our opportunity there, But my dad's like, all right, let's go back and let's go find another bird. I'm like, no, hold up, because this piece is big enough where it should hold another bird. Like, there should be another bird in here somewhere.
If this tom's in here and
So,
it's got a hen,
yes,
there's gotta be more.
There's got to be another tom along, and it's so good looking. Like, there's so much good ground there. So we end up we end up going all the way around this piece, the same exact thing we did the day before. Walk the exact same path, get to the same spot I struck him in the day before, and strike him again. And so I'm like, all right, different game plan this time, because last time I kind of hung back and tried to bring him to me. I was like, different game plan this time. I rushed him. I mean, I rushed. I bum rush straight across this burn. Me and my dad, we cover 100 yards on this bird within a minute. We're in it we're just moving. We get another 100 yards on this bird, and I call again, and this bird hammers, and he's inside 100 yards now. And I'm like, oh, I'm in his bubble. Like, I'm where I need to be.
You're dancing with him now.
I sit down. Dad sits down, gets ready, and I'm sitting there. I call again, and he gobbles. I'm like, all right. He's gobbling good to me. Well, I stopped calling for about. I mean, I hadn't called. I called, he gobbled, and I stopped calling for maybe a half a minute, and he gobbles again on his own, and then he gobbles again on his own, and I'm like, oh, he wants me there now. Like, he's really wanting me to come to him. So I turned around and I told my dad, I said, listen, dude, I'm going to watch this side of the burn where this trail comes up. I'm going to watch this. You watch out in the burn because he's either going to come up and try to get above us or he's going to come down low through this trail and he's going to pop up and all I'm going to see is his head. So Dad said, all right. And I said, you see him, don't wait. Like, kill him. Do not wait for me to tell you to shoot him or not, or, or whatever. Just make sure he's a Tom and kill him. He's like, all right. So bird gobbles a couple more times. I hit him a call. He gobbles again. And then I shut up on him. He gobbles a couple more times and then shuts up. And I called again and he did not say nothing. He said nothing. I'm like, all right, he's coming.
Yep. So that's something that Caleb taught me in the very beginning. Is the hardest thing about turkey hunting is learning how to shut up.
Yeah.
Take the call out of your mouth. If they're gobbling hard, they're hammering, and you're calling back, and they're calling back to you, and you just go go call for call, and all of a sudden they shut up. Probably coming in.
Well,
coming in quiet.
So, and a lot of the time, yeah, he'll come in quiet. So, another thing to learn is that when he's coming in quiet, you got to learn to shut up too.
Yeah, it's just one of the hardest parts because calling's fun.
Once he shuts up too, I've learned that and I try not to overcall, and it is easy when they're gobbling good, but when he's hammering really good, that's the time to be like, all right, time to shut up because I want him to come looking for me. The trick is to keep his legs moving. I don't want his lips moving. I want his legs moving.
There you go.
So I shut up on him.
Shut the beak, move the feet.
So after I got him to call to gobble at me, and he gobbled on his own, and I called, he didn't gobble. I'm like, all right, he's got to be coming. So I've got gun up, watching down the gun barrel. I'm looking for this bird to pop up over this hill, and I peek around the tree just real slow. I turn my head to look, and I see him standing in the burn 50 yards away. He's doing what I thought he was going to do, what I told Dad to watch for. He's going to go above us. I said he's either going to come down low and pop up and be right here, or he's going to try to circle around the top and come up above us. That's what he ended up doing. He ended up coming around the side of the burn, trying to sneak through quiet, and tried to pop up above us while Dad was there to cut him off. So Dad ends up shooting this bird 50 yards, kills the bird dead in the doornail. We go out there, retrieve the bird, and this video actually of that hunt. That video is actually on our a YouTube channel called the Great Lakes Legion. If you want to go check that out, that's where that hunt is from Indiana. We ended up going hunting hard. We ended up hunting hard the rest of that day, and then the next day hunting hard again. Got really close. Had opportunity where we had bird. I mean, I had one bird. He coming out, so I heard him drum. We're walking literally. We're within 200 yards from the truck. We'd made this big loop. This bird. I'm walking down this trail. Me and my dad are walking down this trail, and all of a sudden I just hear a drum, and I'm like, I stopped, and I was like, that sounds like a turkey. And then he drummed again, and I was like, oh, it is a longbeard. Like, he's close.
I think that's a turkey. Oh, that is a turkey.
Yeah, and I'm like looking, so I'm like, okay. So I stop and I turn and I look out through the grass, and all of a sudden I see his fan. And I'm like, oh, crap. He's right there. So I sit down. I get myself sat down, and I I put my gloves on. And he heard me walking and stuff, so he knew that I was there, but he didn't know what I was. Well, I guess he thought I was a hen. I put my gloves on, pull my mask up. I put my leg up to go set my gun on my leg, and as I go to reach down to grab my gun, I look up and he walks around the corner, inside 30 yards.
Ooh, now you gotta be careful.
And all I have is brush there. So I go, and like as soon as he came around the corner, he saw me same time I saw him. So as he sees me, I see him pick his head up and go to turn to leave, and I pick the gun up to go and shoot him. And as I pick the gun up, bird's gone. Can't shoot him. I'm like, dude, what in the world? Like, he just was there and then he wasn't. Like, I basically walked right up into his kitchen, basically. Like, he had no idea I was there, and then I was there.
Hello, goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, he thought maybe I was a hen. He come around the corner to check me out. He's like, no, that's not a hen, and booked it. So
he
just caught me. It was bad timing.
He did an about face. He was gone.
If he'd have waited 10 more seconds, I'd have killed him. I would have killed him.
If you would have had your gun already up on your leg.
That was where it was going. I had the mouth claw in my mouth. The gun was going to go on my leg, and then I was going to let out a call. He'd have walked on the corner, and I'd have shot him. That's how it would have went. But it didn't happen that way.
Somebody favored that bird.
Day before last day of the hunt, it's late in the afternoon. I actually ended up getting on a bird in the national forest and killing him. I ended up killing him. A really, really good bird. 11 3/4 inch beard, 1 3/4 spurs. that was an absolute beast of a bird. I mean, I was really really pleased with that bird from Indiana. Uh, I mean, we hunted a lot in Michigan too, and I could go for hours about all the hunting in Michigan that I did. I really could. Like, I mean, we killed so many birds in Michigan. But I'll fast forward to another state, Wisconsin. This is the last state that I was able to hunt this year.
Oh, the sadness.
Uh, Wisconsin, though, man, what an absolute awesome state full of really cool people. I mean, honestly, coming from a Michigander, like I don't, not much to say about Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. We don't talk about too much, but
That just
that comes from
exists.
college football. Whatever. But so I will say, so I hunted hard in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin kicked my butt. Late season turkeys in Wisconsin weren't playing games. Like it really was trying. Like I heard in the first days of hunting, I heard one gobble, and it was difficult. And so I ended up getting in contact with the guy through Facebook. His name's Mitchell, and the dude knows his stuff with turkey hunting. And honestly, he's an awesome down to earth dude, like blue collar, but he's a turkey killing machine. He really is. He's a turkey killing machine. And I ended up getting there, going out and hanging out with him a little bit and getting to know him a little bit. And he says, "I'll help you put you on a bird. Like I'll help you out." Dude busted his butt for me. Like honestly, I don't know why he's not guiding. I really don't. I even told him that. I was like, "I don't know why you're not guiding. Like you need to guide." And he's like, "I just don't. Like I don't have the time or like I don't." He told me like he just I don't know. He just likes to turkey hunt and he just hasn't really taken that step. I guess,
So what you're
or
saying,
hasn't decided to take that step. He could 100%. It would be nothing for him to take that step.
so what you're saying is turkey hunting is his passion. It is his bread and butter.
Oh, he
It
loves it.
is what he's good at, but he's not guiding.
He's not guiding. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, "Why aren't you guiding? Like, you can be making money doing this. Like, I do this. Why aren't you? Like, you kill every bit as many turkeys as I do." Like, but he's just, like, I don't know. He just loves a turkey hunt, but he just doesn't, I don't know. He just doesn't want to guide. And that's fine.
That's perfectly acceptable.
It's
If that's
awesome.
not, if
But
that's not
I
your
totally
thing,
respect him loving the turkey hunt like that and not wanting to guide because that takes some, but I was grateful. But honestly, amazing down to earth guy, a great person in general. Like he's really really cool. He ends up helping me out, busts his butt. We ended up killing a bird. Day before last day of season in Wisconsin, I ended up killing my bird in Wisconsin off of some of his ground, and really really cool guy. And I actually ended up helping him end up killing a bird in Michigan. I actually told him the area where he should be, queuing on Michigan. He actually killed one in June here in Michigan, but he actually ended up killing a bird the day before I kill my bird with him. He killed an absolute giant in Wisconsin, over 2-inch spurs.
ooh,
Yeah, he actually holds a state record now for.
I was gonna say I've never seen a
Yeah,
bird with 2 inch
straight up
spurs.
knives on this bird. Like I saw the bird with my own two eyes, so it's not a hoax. It's not a lie. Like when I say I saw this bird with my own two eyes, I saw it. I looked at the bird in the back of his truck. I saw the spurs. There
That
were
puts
over
a
2-inch spurs on that bird. It was insane. It was the biggest spurred turkey I have ever seen in my life, and he killed him I got to have the pleasure of being able to see the bird in person. It was amazing.
that puts a funny feeling in my
West
chest knowing this bird's out there like that.
Wisconsin state record for spurs. Wisconsin state record. I think he only missed the actual state record for everything in general just because his weight wasn't quite there.
What
But
was the beard? If the spurs were that big, I know they don't correspond, but like,
I forget what the beard was. I know it was. I think it was 11 and a half or something. It was.
So
It was
a
over
big-
10. It was well over 10 inches. Yeah, it was a big
like
turkey.
9
The only
inches is
and the crazy thing
considered
was is the
big,
only
so-
reason that he missed number one. Honestly, the only reason he missed number one was because of weight. But
was
the
the
but
meat weight of the bird.
well, it wasn't
itself?
even just the meat. He killed that bird in sixth season, right? So
Yeah.
that bird's been chasing hens for like 2 months now. At that point, that bird's lost how much weight, right?
Right.
Dude, imagine him shooting that same exact bird opening day of turkey season in Wisconsin.
Before he had chased anything, still big and fat.
Imagine that bird. That bird's probably 25, 26 pounds, 27 pounds, whatever. He holds a state record. He does. He missed the state record by very little. Just based on spur. I mean, he holds a state record spurs. What an absolute beast of an Eastern. And I don't have anything to say about that other than congratulations to Mitchell. Like, he earned it. He really did. It was an awesome bird. He was so excited. It couldn't have happened to a better guy. Like, you talk about excited. Dude called me while I was there hunting. I was in State Land. He calls me and he's just like, like losing it, like so excited. I couldn't. I was so happy for him. I was so happy for him. It was really really cool. But he helped me get my bird in Wisconsin, and I will be forever grateful for that. And like I told him, I was like, Mitchell, you're welcome in Michigan anytime, and you bring a buddy. Like, you help me, I'm gonna help you, and my olive branch like that extends for years because I'm not gonna sit there and somebody's gonna help me. You're gonna be a great person to me. Like, I'm gonna extend that to you. And Mitchell was an awesome character, like really cool guy. Like, put a lot of mileage on his vehicle trying to help us to kill a bird for me. I appreciated that greatly. And anytime that I can repay that back, for sure, I will. I will pay that forward.
Sounds like a good guy. Again, I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it a million times. You talk to everybody.
Oh yeah.
You talk to anybody and everybody. I I'm not gonna say you wouldn't have gotten birds if you didn't just randomly talk to certain people.
Oh, there's 100% birds that I wouldn't have gotten if I
But
hadn't
this
talked to
it
people and learned from
it
people. And
creates
yeah, absolutely.
bonds and friendships that I've seen you have for many of years, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you two act like you've known each other since you were babies. Who's that? Oh, that's someone I met 6 months ago,
Yeah.
hunting out of state, and we just kind of hit it off. I just stopped and talked to him, and he was listening for birds, and
Oh
I
yeah.
just got there, and I was trying to find where they're at, and we both got a bird together.
Yeah.
It's
I met two really great people this year.
strangers.
Two really great people this year just hunting out of state and just stopping and talking or Facebook, connecting on Facebook. Mitchell was on Facebook and then meeting him in person. And then Jerry was just seeing him listening for birds and stop and talk with him.
And then, if you remember right, he had warned you about the snakes.
Oh,
And
gosh.
when we had just got done recording our last episode, and
Oh,
Caleb
yeah.
showed me a picture that he had sent
Yep,
of a
Jerry.
snake
Yep,
on his
Jerry.
porch.
Jerry sends me this picture. Right, I mean, we literally just stopped recording the last podcast episode, and Jerry sends me a picture of this giant rattlesnake on a porch, and he's like, "That guy is huge." I'm like,
He's
"Holy,
like,
a big old timber rattler on his
I'm pretty
porch."
sure his exact words were, "I wasn't kidding about the snakes."
Yeah, no, it's just I mean, yeah, really great. I mean,
That's so funny.
but I met some really cool people this year turkey hunting, and I met some really outstanding turkey hunters, and it's cool to see other people that are passionate like that, like me, to be able to go and see these people and then help some people kill birds out of state that they've never killed a bird out of state. Like Mitchell, he'd never killed a bird out of state yet, and to be able to just be part of it, like 100%, the bird that he shot in Michigan was 100% skill on him. Like we found the bird. I told him where to go, like all of that, like the area to go and
You
everything.
gave
And
him some tips and directions on places that you knew had birds.
him killing
and then
that bird,
he
I
took over
sat.
from
Yeah,
there.
well, yeah, absolutely. I sat in the car while we found the bird. I sat in the car and waited. And when I heard the gun go off, I texted him like, "Dead bird." He's like, "Yeah."
Dead
Like,
bird.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. It was awesome. So I honestly, I'm very grateful for the season that I had and the people that I got to have it with. But yeah, that was 2024 was for me. I killed 6 birds in 5 states. I had an amazing year. I had birds in my lap more times than I can count. I had more tags punched this year in Michigan than I've ever punched before. I've had tags punched out of state and just I scratched the itch that needed scratched, but it's still there. It's still
It
lingered.
doesn't ever truly go away.
I'm not ready for it to be over. I mean,
Too late.
honestly, I'm not. I wish I could just go back and redo like any part of spring. I wish I could go back to Mississippi and just redo it again. I wish I could sit there underneath a tree with a bird drumming and gobbling one more time. And I miss it. I miss it bad. But this is gonna pretty much do it for our like spring for the most part. This does it
For turkeys.
for 2024. This does it
for
for
the
us for
2024 turkey season. I already told my story. It was 3-1 is what
yeah.
I told technically. I got nothing on Caleb's turkeys. That's Caleb's passion. It's mine too, but I'm starting out in it, and I'm definitely gonna get up there.
Honestly, I could go even more. And I'm sure when we talk about turkeys again, I'm going to bring up more of what I did and the birds that were shot with me from people that have hunted that were hunting with me. But I can't go into too much detail on all of that. I want to save it for future stuff. And I just wanted to tell about my spring and like how my spring went. And it was the best spring I've ever had in a long time, and I will struggle to beat it for a while. Hopefully next year, the plan for 2025, I'll fill y'all in right now. Plan for 2025 is West. This year was Year of the Eastern. I really pushed to kill Easterns this year. Next year, I'm gonna kill some Easterns still, but I want to go West. I want to kill Merriams. Merriams are gonna be taking a beating next year. I think tentatively right now, the crew that I'm gonna be hunting with, we're planning on South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, like doing a swing. Maybe Colorado.
Wyoming is one of the ones I've always wanted to hunt in. Wyoming has just
And
got my heart there.
there's a possibility. There's a slight possibility of Oklahoma might happen. I might head for WMA down there and try to kill a Rio. Get my wife my wife really needs a Rio. She hasn't killed one yet. She hasn't killed a Merriam either, so want to get her on one of those. Florida Osceolas. I mean, gosh, the dream. I want to hunt Florida Osceola really bad. I just don't have the money to go down there to do that right now. I don't want. I'm not walking through swamps with gators and snakes through public land and doing that. I'm diehard, but I know my I know my limits, and I don't like snakes and gators.
You don't want to sweat. You don't want to pet the swamp puppies.
No, I'm good on all that.
And the danger noodles.
I'm good.
I love them.
I can't bring myself to go walk through the swamp for an Osceola, and I want a South Florida Osceola. I don't want none of that. It could be an Osceola, or it's not a true Osceola, but we label it as an Osceola. I want dark wings. I want down by Lake Okeechobee. Like I want down there, South Florida Osceola.
I feel like I'm more willing to do that kind of work for it than you would be.
I'm
walking through that swamp.
You
ain't stopping me.
I'm not going to go to a swamp to hunt turkey. I'm not like that. I'll hunt them. I'll go anywhere and hunt turkeys. I'm just not hunting public in Florida. I just don't want to. I don't have the desire to hunt public in Florida. If I go down there, again, it's expensive to go down there to hunt in general. It's a 23-hour drive from my house, 24-hour drive.
And you got to remember, we're blue collar. We work a job during the week. We got to save all of our off time. Hate to interrupt. We're
looking at deer right now.
There's
a buck.
There's probably about not even 30 yards away. We have a buck and a doe that have been kind of watching us record this whole time.
Yeah, there's an 8-point buck standing underneath my apple tree right now.
That's really cool.
I just got there looking at him, and I was just like, ugh.
The doe has been here for probably about 15, 20 minutes, but the buck just showed up.
Yeah, and there's more coming. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, that's what we're all about. But anyway, back to the swamp puppies and such. So that's turkey for next spring. But we have other animals that we hunt, Caleb.
Yeah, we got. So I'm going bear hunting in August. That's happening. I'm going to Canada to go hunt bear with a bow. My wife's gonna hunt with a rifle, and then I am going elk hunting in October. I got bow hunting and goose hunting obviously before that, and then I am going after elk with a rifle end of October, early November for the first time in Colorado.
Colorado. There we go. Now I know a couple people who've hunted elk, and they've all said that they kind of wish they went to Colorado instead.
I think that I've wanted to hunt other places, but like for rifle, over the counter elk tags, Colorado is kind of hard to beat. Like it's hard to beat for the amount of elk in Colorado is hard to beat. I can't wait to go. I have a buddy that goes down there and hunts every year. I think it should be a good time.
Yep. What about mule deer? I mean,
I'm applying for tags.
Applying for tags.
I'm gonna shoot a mule deer. It's gonna be a good one. But yeah, it's been a cool year, and I really am thankful to God and to all the people that have made my spring possible. And I'm excited for what next year's gonna bring. I'm excited to see where I end up going next year, and it should be a fun year. It should be a good year.
Yep. And I think the next thing that we have coming up is fishing. What's the next fish?
Salmon. Yeah, actually, Atlantic salmon in the UP soon, and then king salmon down here. That's going to be starting soon. So it should be fun. It should be a good year.
To try and keep our minds off turkeys, we're going to be thinking about fishing.
We got waterfowl to keep our minds off of.
Waterfowl. me, Caleb and I. We talked for probably about an hour today, just our plans. We're already planning out our waterfowl baits. Like, we're going. Mind, we can't say it, can we? We're not going to give away our spot.
Yeah, no.
We have a special spot that we go to every weekend.
Yeah.
Every weekend during duck season, we go here, and we know the people there. Great people. It's just a fun time.
Oh yeah.
It's a tradition for us now.
So many birds.
So many.
So
That
many
is
birds.
where I got to see Caleb shoot a black duck. I had never even
That's
seen a
the
black duck
third
before.
black duck that I've shot. And what's crazy is the other. I mean, I've shot 2 hens before that. That was the first time I killed a drake. That was really cool.
We could. I feel like we should tell that story real quick. It's just a funny one.
Oh well, so that bird. I'll go into that bird. That black duck drake drops in with a hen mallard right into the spread. Just past the spread. Ends up getting up, flying right towards us. I end up leveling right on this black duck. Picked him right out right away and level him. Drop him belly up right into the water. Birds flopping around in the water. He's dead.
I have a bad tendency of double tapping birds to make sure they're gone. And I didn't know what a black duck was. I didn't know how rare they were. Caleb didn't inform
In my
me
area, in our area, black ducks are not. They're not common at all.
at all.
They're not.
So I see him start flapping his wings and splashing around in the water. And Caleb looked super excited about this bird. I didn't want to let him get away.
I turn and drop myself because I'm thinking James is going to kill this mallard hen that's flying up and right over the top of me. She's up there, 25 yards up over my head, but he's standing right next to me. I'm thinking he's going to kill this mallard hen. I duck down, I hear bang, and I look at this mallard keep flying away, and I hear no more shots. And I turn and look, and he's like, "I shot that one on the water for you again." And I'm like, "No, that was a black duck!" Like I was
He's
sick.
like, "No!"
Yeah, he ended up peppering it again. So the taxidermist had a few more holes to patch up on that one. But yeah, it was a good one.
I know. I didn't want to. I'd seen Caleb duck down, but I didn't want to swing the gun over his head. And out of the corner of my eye, I seen that bird flopping around, and I could just see the wings flying. So I thought he had just knocked it down enough and then ducked. So I ducked. So I thought I would be nice and possibly destroy his black duck drake.
Yeah, and what's funny too is like I should have. I mean, James has a bad habit of this. It's not just the one time it's happened.
I think that was the third time I had done that.
I watched him on geese with a crippled goose walk up and just point blank the goose. I mean, yeah, he was near the waterfall.
That was my very first hunt. He didn't tell me about wringing the neck at all. So he goes, "Go get the crippled." And I got up there, and it's like, honk, honk, trying to get away. And I'm like, "Oh, no, you shouldn't suffer."
He levels the gun
Click,
and just
bang.
shoots the thing right point blank. I'm like, and I look at him like, "Why didn't you just wring its neck?" And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, you don't shoot him point blank like that, man. Like, you don't got to waste the shell." It was pretty funny. But, yeah.
I did that to one goose, 2 ducks. Well, 3 technically.
Yeah, my black duck. Luckily, that one was at farther range.
This year, I do not plan on doing that.
Yeah,
I think it was the trip after the black duck. It was the next weekend. I had someone steal my goose.
Yep, that happened too.
We had someone set up in a different zone, different area, and they kept moving around. And where we're at, you're not supposed to do that. So we're already like, we should probably let the people know that they're doing stuff that ain't right. But we're just, whatever. We'll just focus on hunting. Don't shoot in that area. We'll be safe. And I shot a goose while Caleb was out, I think, moving the mojo. And they came in, and he's like, "Don't, they're swans." And I'm like, "No, they're geese." And he's like, "No, they're oh, yeah, they're geese. Go ahead." And I popped one. And it landed pretty far away, out of sight, but we knew it was dead. So I'm like, all right, I'll wait a few minutes, wait for Caleb to get back, then I'll go get it. I got like halfway out there, and the people who were moving around already took my goose.
Yeah, they went and picked it.
They went and picked it up and left.
Yeah, they literally grabbed it and left. Like they grabbed the dead bird and just left. Like, yeah, I remember that. That was stupid.
That sucked. I was so upset. Caleb's like, "It's all right. It's just a goose." And I'm like, "No, that was my goose.
Yeah,
it's my goose."
James gets a little bit wild when it comes to geese because he likes to eat geese.
Oh, I love geese. I think I made a bet with Caleb for something stupid. I'm not gonna say what it was, but I did get some geese out of it. So
that's true.
I think we were at well, I guess I'll tell what it is. It's not like I did anything illegal. We were at like kind of like a petting zoo type thing, but it was big. It's got camels, and it's got a big pond full of fish and capybara, and it's got geese. It's got a whole bunch of like caribou and emu. It's just a big farm where you can pay to go walk around and kind of feed the animals. And on the bridge to feed all of the koi fish, there's a little machine where you drop quarters in and you get to and I kind of noticed a shine. I'm like, "Hey Caleb, how much you want to bet I can get over this. I can get over this bridge. There's about 8 inches of land between like the bridge and where the water actually starts. So I could hit the ground and I could get in there and I could get some quarters. And he goes, I bet you 2 geese you won't.
Yeah.
Well, I
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I jumped over and I got about $4 worth of quarters from the ground that people had dropped under the bridge. I didn't use any of it. I just set it on top of the machine, and a bunch of kids started putting the money in and feeding all the koi fish. That was cool. I got 2 geese out of that. That's cool. And then the ducks. I pretty much turned all the ducks into duck poppers. That was pretty good.
I love duck and goose poppers. They make really good poppers.
For geese, oh my goodness, I just fry it up like a steak.
Yeah, I do
So
the same.
good.
I do the same with them. I do duck skin on though. Like that's the way that I like to eat duck.
I prefer the skin off, but I mean everyone prefers it a little bit differently. I know
Right.
so many people that are like, "Ew, how could you eat that? It's so greasy." And I'm like, "No, that's because you're wrong. You're just wrong.
Oh man.
You're just wrong because you take it with the skin on and you throw it in an oven in a pan
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
you pull it out and it's just dried and grease everywhere and you're doing it wrong. It's a red meat for a reason. You take that and you throw it on a grill. You throw it on a cast iron pan, a little black top. You fry it up like a steak.
Yep. Absolutely.
You eat that thing. It's a goose steak for a reason.
Yeah, I enjoy. I don't like. You bake it and it gets greasy. Geese don't really get greasy, but ducks get
so
bad greasy if you don't fry them.
And when we did the ducks in the oven as goose poppers, what we did is we'd open them up and we put the cream in there. You put the duck in there, and then in the pepper. Excuse me. And then we wrapped it in bacon, and we threw it in the oven, and we took it out only a few minutes later because we had the oven on pretty high. And then I threw it on a hot cast iron pan for just long enough to sear the bacon and everything, and they were good. We brung those to our local fair. We made some for our local fair, and they got, I don't think they got first place, but they definitely got, I think it was reserved.
Yeah.
It was one of them. It was high up there. So that was cool.
That's
There's a lot
sweet.
of different recipes you can do with them. For me, again, I just prefer to cook it like a steak. I am very passionate about cooking. I do a lot of cooking. I like cooking. It's kind of my thing. I cooked for my family when I was younger, so.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap this episode up. Next time we'll be dropping a video, it will be with a special guest. We won't announce that guest until we get there.
We won't. It will be in the cover, so you can read it, but that doesn't mean you're gonna know who it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. If Caleb wants to end us off in prayer, we'll be out of here.
Yeah. So all right. Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for being able to spend time with one another and fellowship with one another in the outdoors. Lord, we thank you for giving us this platform, Lord, to help us to be able to share our experiences and our passions, Lord, and to share you. Lord, we thank you for everything that you do for us every single day. We thank you for our friendship with each other, and we thank you for everything that you do in the great outdoors for us. Lord, we thank you for geese and ducks and turkeys and deer, Lord, and we thank you for everything that we've learned about the great outdoors. And we just ask you, Lord, that you would just continue to help us to grow in you and in love for you, Father. And help us, Lord, that we would be open hearts for you and open hearts for people for you. And we appreciate you, Lord, everything you do for us. In your name, Lord. Amen.
Amen. All right. We will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Got him. Limit. That's it.